No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items.
Pico money, Pico money, Pico money. We making Pico money. Payday, about to throw a rack on China. Need some DFS advice, where can I find some? League of Items got the sheet with all the lineups and all the stacks that you need to get to diamond. League of Items!
Getting gold, that's the goal. Keep on winning on a roll. Kill for dragons, got soul. Now you got nowhere to go. Teleporting top to bot. Dive your carry on the spot. That's an ace. Wreck your base. Wear my crown. We on top.
What's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and I'm excited to talk about the 4-game slate that we have coming up tomorrow, but I'm even more excited to talk about my new partnership with Underdog. So Underdog Fantasy, like we discovered a few weeks ago, has some esports content now. It's basically overs and unders. They also have something called Rivals, where you're picking between two different players on the same team for who will have more kills, and then, one side or the other gets like a little bit of a kill bonus. So, for example, if Weibo Gaming is playing, like they are tomorrow, I don't know what the rival matchup is tomorrow, but if it was the Shy against SFM, maybe SFM gets like plus a half kill because the Shy will most likely get more kills. Like, that's the way that it works. If you want to help support the channel, this is now the best way to do it. If you haven't signed up for Underdog Fantasy yet, there are many great reasons to sign up for Underdog. I've been using Underdog for about 2 years now, I think. NFL season's right around the corner. Everybody likes playing fantasy football. You can also play like one-day leagues on Underdog Fantasy, but the best thing for Underdog Fantasy is Best Ball. So Best Ball is a type of fantasy football where you draft a lineup against, I think it's 9 other people, and 9 or 12. It's either 10-team leagues or 12-team leagues, but they have gigantic tournaments more similar to DraftKings, where you basically draft a lineup and then you don't touch your lineup for the entire year. So if injuries happen to one of your key players, they're dead. So you're better off doing multiple entries into one of their larger tournaments. That's how I generally do it. It's kind of like a scratch-off, similar to the gigantic GPPs on DraftKings, so I would definitely recommend checking that out. Like I said, if you want to support the channel, please consider signing up for Underdog Fantasy using promo code Pikel or the link in the description below. And really, I mean, the overs and unders are fun for League of Legends. Hopefully we can make some money on that. The rival stuff is pretty cool. You can blend those together. But really, in my mind, fantasy football is right around the corner. You'd be insane not to take advantage of this deposit match, to just have some like lottery tickets out there for the entirety of the NFL season. It's a lot of fun. Drafting's a lot of fun. I'm sure most of you would enjoy it, so give it a shot. And if you do give it a shot, use the promo code Pikel. But let's talk about League of Legends, because that's why we're here. So tomorrow morning, we have 4 matches, 2 in the LPL, 2 in the LCK. First up, we have Thunder Talk against LGD. Thunder Talk are big favorites. They're much bigger favorites than they probably should be. The talent is a little bit better on Thunder Talk's side, but LGD is a younger team. And in general, I kind of like playing the younger teams when they don't have a lot of name recognition yet, because they have the upside of being a very good player. For Thunder Talk, we have Hoya, Beishuan, Yukal, who's a household name at this point, Kepler, and Yao Yao. That's most likely the lineup they're running out there. I have not checked Twitter yet. I just got back from the golf course. They're up against LGD. We will most likely have Fearness, Kui, Haichao, Assam, and Jin Zhao. So, in reality, the reasons why you're playing Thunder Talk is because you think LGD dies a lot when they lose, and also because Thunder Talk should be less owned than a lot of the other teams that are on the slate tonight. Those are two pretty good reasons to play Thunder Talk. If you want to play LGD, it's really just a scratch off. It's like, if LGD manages to win 2-1 or 2-0 and gets a ton of kills, like, yes, there's a chance that they're the optimal team on the slate, but that's not going to happen very often. Let's go to Underdog. Let's get some of the pick'ems on the screen. And like I said in previous videos, I cannot play the over-unders or the pick'ems. I can't play the over-unders or the rivals because I live in New Jersey, and that's against the law. But won't stop us from talking about League. So I guess Yej might be starting. Doesn't really do much for me. Is Eric really starting over? I guess we got to check now. I did not expect to see those names. Did I tweet this before? No. LPL Fan Club, one of the best spots to get roster information. There are a bunch of people who post these lineups every day. Come on, where are the lineups? There we go. Yeah, so it's Eric and Jinjiao. Wow, that's a much different lineup than I think we've seen recently. So Fearness, Shadow, Yej, Eric, and Jinjiao against Xiaoshang, Beishuan, Yukal, Kepler, and Yao Yao. So Xiaoshang is a decent top laner. He was a substitute last season. Not sure why they're playing him. Shadow is a jungler that I don't really hate at all. I think he's pretty good. Yej, Eric, Jinjiao. Eric's okay. It is kind of strange that they would make that move, though. It doesn't really do much for me in terms of changing how I want to approach this matchup. Yej over 4. I could see playing something like that, but not a huge deal. I don't think there's a big edge on that side. Eric and Jinjiao at 6 kills. I'm much more likely to do that. I think that in general the support is not worth that much. But in a spot where they're already underdogs, all they have to do is win one game, and that would probably pay off. Let's take a look at the matchups for rivals. So we have Xiaoshang against Beishuan. I think I would probably just take Beishuan in that spot. And then I would most likely take Shadow as well. I think that junglers in general are better plays than top laners, especially if the talent is relatively close. So I would recommend playing both of the junglers in that spot. Xiaoshang is getting +1 kills. I think Xiaoshang is more of a sub-risk than Beishuan. So I guess we can kind of take that into consideration as well. But ultimately, I might have some Thunder Talk players in one of my lineups, but probably not. I think I've made 3 different lineups and entered them into 2 contests. That's pretty much the extent of my interest in that matchup. I would recommend, if you want to just bet the outright, I would say Thunder Talk Gaming is a better side. If you're looking for +1.5 on LGD, I think that's an okay bet. I think the better bet would be to play something on DraftKings as like a primary or secondary stack. That way, even if they lose, if they somehow have a lot of kills, they can be salary savers for you. So, that's always worth a shot. Let's go to the next game. So the second game in the LPL tomorrow is a great matchup. Weibo Gaming against JDG. This will most likely be the most bloody matchup on DraftKings tomorrow. The Shy, SFM, Angel, Huanfeng, and An against 369, Kanavi, Yagao, Hope, and Missing. So obviously JDG is more high. People have a higher regard for JDG in general than Weibo Gaming, even though Weibo Gaming and their former iteration of Suning has performed better in international competitions, just in general. Weibo Gaming, as Suning, made it to the finals. They had 3 of the same players, SFM, Huanfeng, and Angel. They had Sword Art instead of An, and they had Bin instead of the Shy. The Shy is an upgrade over Bin, so they are just a very strong team. They have a bunch of different ways that they can play the game. They can play through the top lane. The Shy is probably the best carry top laner in the world. He's also very volatile and can die a lot, which makes 369 an interesting play on DraftKings as well. So let's do the rivals first. So we have SFM against the Shy. See, SFM is getting +1.5. That kind of makes sense, just because the Shy is a beast. I would rather just play the Shy. So, okay, actually, this is where we might get in trouble. So, this might be a spot where S of M is the better side of this matchup because Kanavi is on the enemy team. If Weibo Gaming wants to be competitive in this matchup, it will really require S of M to have a good matchup, to have a good match in general, and limit Kanavi's effectiveness. Kanavi is one of the best junglers in the world. I've been saying that for about 2 years. And, you know, he can just go off on anybody. So my gut instinct is play Kanavi, play the Shy. But this matchup between S of M and the Shy, especially with the plus 1.5 kills for S of M, is probably going to be super tight. In a match that Weibo Gaming loses, I think it's more likely S of M would win. The only scary part is, you know, in one of their wins, the Shy can get 8, 9, 10 kills. S of M is capable of doing that as well, and he has done it, I think, this year. But I feel like the Shy is probably just a smarter play in general, and the line kind of reflects that. For this one, again, 2.5 is a huge number. I don't think it really is that high often. My gut says just play Kanavi because he's so much more involved in the team in general. From a DraftKings perspective, I'm playing both of them as primary stacks. I would consider them as secondary stacks, but I just want them as my primary stacks and try to get different in other ways to be unique. So I guess I'm going like that. I think overall, I'm a bigger Weibo Gaming fan than I am a JDG fan, but I do like these two teams very much. They were two of the teams I was touting last split. I had money on both of them to win the last split, and neither of them did. But you know, I'm glad when they're both playing well because they are more interesting to watch than some of the other teams that are out there. So that's basically it. I think that if you're using Weibo Gaming as your primary stack, you're definitely going to want Huanfeng as your AD carry. The interesting thing with JDG is that you can very easily justify playing Kanavi as your captain, and you're really not giving up that much upside. The only fear is that there's not a jungler to pair him with. So then the second level of thinking, I guess, would be try to fit Kanavi into your lineup if you think that JDG is going to win, and then build the rest of your lineup just as a more traditional like mid captain or AD carry captain if you can fit it in. But you're going to need to play, I think, probably Damwon or an underdog. Speaking of underdog, let's look at the other spots. So we have Angel over under 5. I think that's an over. We have Huanfeng and On over under 9. Ugh. I want Weibo to win, so I'm saying the over is the side that I would play if I did pick one of those sides. I think you can justify playing under for Yagao because, like I said before, 369 will probably have more kills than usual in a matchup against the Shy. Kanavi just generally has more kills than Yagao. Hope is doing a very good job from a DraftKings perspective as well. And we expect them to go 1-1 in the first 2 games to split that. Don't think I'd really want to play the 11 kill over, so maybe that feels more like an under to me. But these two teams are so bloody. I was mentioning this a few weeks ago. Sometimes you can play all 4 of these as overs if you think the matchup is like 20-14 in game 1 and 20-14 in game 2. Then you should have enough kills there to win both sides of that. So yeah, Thunder Talk. I'm siding Weibo. I want them to win. Maybe that just clouds my judgment, but that's the side that I'm going to be on tomorrow. Let's move over into the LCK. So first up, we have Sandbox against Damwon. This is an easy over spot for Showmaker. Showmaker is one of the best mid laners in the world. Hasn't really put together many great DraftKings performances this split. In like 2020, there was a stretch where Showmaker was scoring like 150, 200, and Knight was doing the same. That was just a really good meta for mid laners back then. But I think over 5.5 is pretty good for games 1 and game 2. The real problem with Damwon is that they will often have low kill score games. I don't think that's as likely to happen against Sandbox. I think Sandbox is going to try to force the issue. I do think that Prince and Kale have an okay chance at hitting 8 kills, because Prince is a very good AD carry. Like, Prince is better than Deokdam. He is much more aggressive. He is, in my mind, he's like kind of, and obviously I don't necessarily think that he's better or worse than Danny yet. I don't really know how to relate those two players to each other, but they have similar styles. I think Danny, Prince, and then just very aggressive AD carries in general. Like somebody like Jackie Love, for example. They are willing to make insane plays to try to win the game for their team. You really need that to win some of the close matchups that are out there. So like I said, I'm probably not playing this one. I'm not going to go over-under with closer. If you think that Damwon gets an easy 2-0, then you should play the under for closer. Prince and Kale, I probably prefer the over as long as you think that they get one win. Prince has a very high kill share on his team, I'm pretty sure. And it wouldn't surprise me if he had 6, 7, 8 kills in one game over Damwon. I think that Damwon, from a losing position, has the upside of trying to get a ton of kills. Or forcing a lot of fights, I mean. And then Deokdam and Kellen, I'm probably not playing Deokdam and Kellen over. So if anything, that'd be an under for me. Then for the rivals, we have Canyon and Nuggery. Canyon +1 is the best. This is the best thing I've seen all day. This is by far the best choice that you can play tomorrow. Then we have Dove against Kroko. I don't really love either side of that. I would say Kroko is probably the better side in the off chance that they get a win, but I really don't like either side. I wouldn't recommend playing that one. And then from a DraftKings perspective, I've won multiple tickets with Damwon because, you know, all it takes is the Weibo Gaming JDG match to underperform, and then you basically need Damwon or Genji to kind of lay the smackdown on one of these teams, which is definitely possible. And I also use them as secondary stacks a decent amount, so hopefully I get more luck with Damwon. But in our other match, we have Genji against Guangdong. So this match, that's a big number considering Guangdong's talent level. Guangdong has played well against T1, for example. So this is basically suggesting that they will not win a game. Genji's been on a crazy good win streak. They are just kind of dominating. They keep going 2-0. And I think that we're getting T1 against Genji this weekend. Oh, no, that just happened. They 2-0'd T1. That's pretty good. So coming off of that, it feels like even less likely that Guangdong can take a game. It's probably the time to do it. So Keen against Doran. Keen's probably the better player. Doran is very good, though. Doran's just been on better teams. I think if Keen was in Doran's spot, he'd be thought of just as highly, if not higher, because I know people respect Keen. Peanut against Ellen. Peanut's definitely the better side. Chovy against Fate. Chovy's obviously the better side. Ruler and Teddy. Teddy's very good, but he's not Ruler. Ellen against Keen. I would probably say you want to go with Keen. He's more likely to be in a preferential matchup over Doran. Like Peanut against Elam, I don't think I ever want to play Elam in anything. For the kills, I think Peanut is the better side here. I'd probably just go with Peanut. Then for the over-unders, we have Chovy at 7, Fate at 2.5. These are overs. I mean, I guess it's unlikely that Guangdong wins a game, but even in 2 losses, as long as they're somewhat close and they're not just getting completely destroyed, I would think you have to play both of those overs. Those are pretty good spots, I think. I prefer the Teddy over, the Teddy plus Hoyt over to the Fate one. So if you're trying to fit one in, I would definitely recommend that. Ruler and Hens 13.5. That's probably too high for me to really feel good about going over. That's probably why they said it's so high. Chovy at 7. I'm pretty close to saying okay with that one for the over. On DraftKings, I guess I'll talk about DraftKings more generally right now. Like I said before, I think that Weibo Gaming and JDG are the best options for primary stacks. They will also be the most popular primary stacks. So if you get 4 players from Genji or 4 players from Damwon into your lineup, that'll make you pretty different. If you get Thunder Talk as a primary stack in your lineup, that will make you even more different. And then if you use like Sandbox, you're probably going to be competing with maybe 4 or 5% of other captain lineups, which is a decent way to give yourself a chance at winning a GPP. But that's basically it. Like I said before, excited about the new partnership with Underdog. If you want to support the channel, please consider signing up for Underdog. It really is a great app and website. They have an app on the App Store if you want to get it there. I do use this website. I'll probably play between $200 to $500 worth of best balls this year for NFL. And as we get closer to draft season, maybe we can do some private drafts and stuff like that. I have the ability to set that up. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.